Quetta Shy McElroy.
Good afternoon. My name is Alonzo Romo, and I'm a proud laborer and member of my union, Liuna Local 113. I also work for MPL Construction here in Milwaukee. I grew up in O'Connell Falls, just north of Green Bay, and graduated high school 2 years ago. And if you would have told me then that my career path as a skilled union laborer would have brought me here to you all today, getting to introduce President Joe Biden, I wouldn't believe it. After high school, I took a course on gas utility construction service at NWTC in Green Bay, which led me to work with NPL and my union, Liuna Local 113. And I have since moved from the gas distribution onto working as a laborer on efforts to replace lead service pipes here in Milwaukee. I personally helped remove 35 lead laterals, and while I have a lot more to do, I know we are making great pace. This is hard work, but it is so rewarding. Not only am I getting paid great wages and great benefits, but I know that when I am removing a lead service lateral, I'm helping a family in our community have access to clean drinking water. I'm truly grateful for the work that President Biden, Vice President Harris, and the administration have done to make the investments like we are seeing in Milwaukee to accelerate the lead pipe removal. Helping us create more job opportunities in my union brothers and sisters, and ensuring that we have clean and safe drinking water. And Shai knows all about this, what clean water means for our community. Shai.
Good afternoon. I'm Shai. I was born and raised in the Cream City of Milwaukee. I didn't realize how serious the issue of lead poison was until about 13 years ago when my own son Nathan was tested positive for elevated blood lead levels. As a mother of 4, it is terrifying to learn about. Although my son was one of the lucky ones, meaning he didn't have to be hospitalized, I still watched him face lifelong learning disabilities and damaging effects of lead poison. The worst thing for a parent is to know that something's happening to your child. The fact that my son was lead poisoned and I received very little care, not even lead abatement services in my home, that's what fuels my work today at Coalition on Lead Emergency. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have been listening to our stories, and they have followed through and kept their promises. Under the Biden-Harris administration, Milwaukee has responded to more lead cases and replaced more lead pipes than any administration in this nation's history. So we can see the federal dollars working in our city. You can't drive 10 minutes without driving past an infrastructure project, and so many of those projects are ridding our homes of lead. Growing up, my mother always told me it takes a village to raise a child. Well, this administration, President and Vice President, have been part of that village and have been putting our jobs and our children above all, and we are grateful. So, without further ado, it is my honor and my privilege to introduce and welcome the toughest, most substantial partner in our village, our very own President of the United States of America, President Joe Biden.
Milwaukee. It's good to be back. Thank you.
Welcome to Milwaukee, too.
Well, it's good to be back in Milwaukee.
We love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have a seat, have one. I said that once, and there were no seats, and the guy looked at me like, what the hell's the matter with you? Before I begin, I want to say we're prepared for another horrible hurricane to hit Florida. I've directed my team to do everything they can to save lives and help communities before, during, and after this hurricane. The most important message today for all those who may be listening to this in the impacted areas is listen to the local authorities. Follow safety instructions, including evacuation orders. This is serious. You got to be safe because people are dying. People have died so far, not from this hurricane, but from the last one. So, folks, let me get to today's event. Shai, thank you for sharing your family story. You said it all. The worst thing, and I know from experience for a parent, is something happening to your children. Your son, your families like yours exposed to lead poisoning in our water. They deserve a hell of a lot better than they've been getting. And that's why we're here. That's why people like Alfonso are getting to work removing those lead pipe services, delivering clean water. Kamal and I go all the way back to Flint worrying about what happened then, remember, in Michigan? Well, providing what's good for our health and for our environment is also good for our economy, and it's good for jobs. Folks, the middle class built this country, and organized labor unions built the middle class. It's a fact. We're lucky to have some great leaders here today who know how to get a job done. Tony's heard me say this before, but I think Tony's one of the 3 best governors in the United States of America. The great mayor, Chevy Johnson. Chevy, I tell you, you're one of the best mayors, pal. You really are. Our great administrator, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, Michael Regan. And our great chair of the Council of Environmental Quality, Brenda Malloy. Brenda, where are you? She's out there somewhere. We're here today because we're finally addressing an issue that should have been addressed a long time ago in this country. The danger that lead pipes pose to our drinking water. For too long, local communities have known how important it was to deal with this problem. It hadn't been given the national priority it demanded, though. I'm here today to tell you that I'm finally insisting that it gets prioritized, and I'm insisting it get done. One of the most important things we're doing today is establishing a new rule that every lead pipe providing clean drinking water doesn't provide clean water must be replaced, every single one. Not only are we setting a priority, we're showing up as a partner to get it done. Over the past couple of years, we provided billions of dollars to states and communities to address this problem. And today, I'm announcing an additional $2 billion in grants to states and local communities to get the job done. It matters. Folks, people all asking me, why do we have lead pipes in the first place? Probably ask yourself that. How'd that happen? Well, it's because when they were first put in place a long time ago, lead pipes were incredibly durable and they didn't rust. But since then, we've learned that lead pipes also leach poisonous toxins into the water that lead to terrible health consequences, particularly in the development of a child's brain. Think about what that does to a parent's peace of mind. When I was a senator back in 1986, I supported a law that stopped new lead pipes from being put in the ground in the first place. But that still left millions of older lead pipes that were already in the ground, connected to homes, schools, child care centers, and businesses, including some 340,000 lead pipe service lines right here in Wisconsin. And over the years, we've only chipped away at the problem. But chipping at the problem hasn't fully solved it. It's taken too long. It hasn't been given a high enough priority until now. Folks, as Kamala would say, this is the United States of America, for God's sake. There's no safe level of lead exposure, period. None. The only way forward is to replace every lead pipeline and connect the American people to clean water. No alternative. That's why Kamala and I are the first administration to take on the challenge once and for all. And we're delivering. We know safe, clean drinking water is fundamental to the health of our communities, to enhance our economic growth, to basic human dignity. That's why we've already replaced 367,000 lead pipe services all across America. And today, nearly 1 million Americans no longer have to worry about the potential impacts of lead in their water. Like Lily Key right here in Milwaukee. She's a nursing assistant protecting the health of others. She actually knows, at work right now. But in her own home, there was a lead pipe threat to her own health and all her grandchildren she helped raise there. She was spending a big chunk of her paycheck on bottled water every month because it was too expensive to replace the lead pipes. But 3 weeks ago, Lily got lead service line replaced for free. How? Because what I call our Investing in America agenda. One of the many reasons Kamala and I fought so hard to pass the bipartisan infrastructure law, which I might add is over $1.2 trillion, was not only to modernize our nation's infrastructure, roads, bridges, ports, airports, transit system, electric grids, affordable high-speed broadband, but also to get rid of the godforsaken lead pipes, deliver clean drinking water to everyone in their homes, their schools, and their businesses. Right here in Wisconsin, we've invested more than $200 million replacing tens of thousands of lead pipelines. And today, oh, thank you. Today, we release another $43 million for Wisconsin as part of $2.6 billion nationwide to support replacing lead pipe service lines. While the federal government can't do it alone, we're providing the single largest investment ever to team up with states and cities to get the job done together. And I mean team up at every level. Right after I signed the bipartisan infrastructure law, Kamala announced our administration's ambitious blueprint to use every tool at our disposal at the federal, state, and local level to protect our families from lead poisoning. As a result of that work, I'm announcing a new rule written into law from the Environmental Protection Agency that requires water systems across America replace lead pipe service in every single one in America within 10 years. Must be done. I want that rule in the law no matter who's president. It matters. We're seeing the collaboration here where the city of Milwaukee will now replace all of their lead pipe service lines within 10 years, instead of what was projected to take 60 years to get it done. That was the projection. Folks, this is a big deal, as someone once said. It's about saving families from going through what Shai and Lily's families had to go through. Saving hundreds of thousands of mothers and infants from low birth weights and children with lasting brain damage. Protecting more than 1,000 adults from premature death from heart disease every single year because of lead. It'll save lives, but it also saves the taxpayers billions of dollars over time. It's about the basics. It's about clean water. To me, it's a simple proposition. This is also about fairness. Nationally, I'm directing nearly half of this funding go to disadvantaged communities that have borne the brunt of lead pipe poisoning for damn too long. Studies show community of color have been the hardest hit. One study showed black children were at least 2 times more likely to have elevated levels of lead in their blood than children of other racial groups. We have an obligation to make things right. Like all major investments we're making in the environment, it's also about creating jobs, good-paying jobs, many of them union jobs for laborers, plumbers, pipe fitters, like Alfonso. That's why my administration is bringing together the city of Milwaukee's local unions, educators, employers, to create an Invest in America workforce hub right here in Milwaukee. Sometimes you forget the basics. This hub is going to train and connect residents to good-paying jobs, replacing lead pipelines. It'll create new registered apprenticeships, helping everyone, including women and people of color, to access these jobs with good pay and benefits for themselves and their families. We're also using the power of example as a global leader, helping replace lead pipes around the world. Last month at the United Nations, I was proud that my wife Jill and our international aid agency, USAID, brought together 26 nations, funded primarily through philanthropy, to launch a coalition to end childhood lead poisoning, poisoning that kills more people in developing countries than HIV, AIDS, and malaria combined. Folks, replacing lead pipes is just one piece of our nation's most ambitious clean water agenda ever. We're upgrading outdated We're upgrading outdated water mains and treatment plants, making them more resilient to climate disasters. That means less likely to break down after massive floods and still run when the power grid goes down. We're improving water systems in tribal lands where nearly half the population still lacks clean water. Half the population of tribal lands still lacks clean water. It's outrageous. We're committing to making it right. And as part of my cancer moonshot initiative to end cancer as we know it, we're detecting and removing so-called forever chemicals, referred to as PFAS. These are chemicals that are found in many everyday products, but are unsafe and shown to contribute to cancer and other health conditions. We set the first ever drinking water standard to protect 100 million Americans from PFAS, including folks all across Wisconsin. Folks, what's the government for if it cannot protect the public health? And in the process, we're creating jobs. We're building a better America. And clean water is just one critical part. For example, earlier this year, I was in Milwaukee with your governor and your mayor when I announced nearly $36 million for the 6th Street project. As you know, during the 60s, so-called urban renewal swept through this country. The construction of I-94 and I-43 were torn down. They tore down roughly 17,000 homes and 1,000 businesses were lost, displacing residents and businesses all along 6th Street. Also, so the people outside the neighborhood could drive downtown more quickly. With bike lanes and bus lanes gone, speeding and reckless driving increased, resulting in crash rates 5 times that of the city's average. Locking people out of opportunities, leaving them more isolated from the social and economic life for the rest of the city. But not anymore. We're going to rebuild the 6th Street. We're going to a future with wider sidewalks for children walking to school, safer bike lanes for residents and visitors, dedicated bus lanes to get to work faster, new trees to provide shade, modern infrastructure to prevent sewage from flowing into the Milwaukee River and Lake Michigan. And making it easy for historic black communities in the North and Latino communities in the South to access jobs, schools, and entertainment opportunities in the city and around the Central Hub. This will be life-changing. The bottom line is, I said I'd keep my commitment to insist that all communities have access to investments that improve safety and security in the neighborhoods. And that's what we're doing, giving everyone a fair shot. Now, my dad would say, leaving no one behind. Folks, there's some folks who don't have any problem leaving people behind, like my predecessor in the White House and his allies in Congress, like your Senator Ron Johnson, who voted against everything I just talked about, every single thing. In fact, Ron Johnson called the law that is removing these lead pipe protection for public health, creating jobs in Wisconsin, he called it a radical agenda. I'm going to restrain my Irish side here. I don't think there's a damn thing radical about protecting kids from lead poisoning. Protecting women from low birth rates, protecting them from brain damage, and so much more. My predecessor, along with the senator, rolled back clean water protections that kept industries from polluting our water and destroying our wetlands. They slashed the Environmental Protection Agency's budget and eliminated important programs that guaranteed clean water. You may also remember, when the last guy was president, he promised Infrastructure Week every week for 4 years. And he didn't build a damn thing. Folks, in plain talk, we can't go backwards. We have to keep moving forward. Protect the health and well-being of our families, our communities, and our country. And in the process, growing our economy and creating good-paying jobs. We can't wait any longer. Folks, let me close with this. When folks see shovels in the ground on all these projects that protect people's lives, put people to work, hope they feel what I feel, pride. Pride in their hometowns making a comeback. Pride in America, that we can get big things done when we work together. I've never been more optimistic, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I've never more in my whole life been more optimistic about our nation's future. We just have to remember who the hell we are. We're the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we work together. So let's keep working together and get it done. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.